Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Think's next webinar, How to Use AI to Improve SaaS Communications. I want to say big thanks for registering and joining us today for this webinar. This is a topic that comes up fairly often. There are lots of SaaS platform owners that are looking for new and creative solutions to both their voice and their messaging needs. And I think obviously has some very creative, interesting solutions that can help tackle some of the common issues that platform owners have when they're looking for solutions to fit those two needs. And I'm excited today to be joined by Mike Tyndall, who's our co-founder and chief architect. Mike has been with Think from the very beginning and helped us create the solutions that we offer today. And Mike, really happy to have you with us here today. And I wanted to dive right in, everybody, before we get to Mike's part and just really talk about how AI in general and different flavors of it, levels of it, are impacting businesses today. And what's interesting is, several studies done recently show that, businesses have really embraced artificial intelligence and the different flavors of it that go along with it to really help, maximize, their business, impact different functions that they have that they need to operate. And one of them is interesting. Almost half of the folks that were polled said that they were, of SaaS platforms said that they were going to increase their investment for in-app chatbots. And what's interesting is, what chatbots do best is, process text that's presented to them by users. And this is actually called parsing. And when that text is presented to it, it actually knows how to respond according to a complex series of algorithms. And what those algorithms do is interpret and identify what the user actually has said, and then determine the series of appropriate responses, based on the information that has been provided. So, some chatbots, and I know I've experienced some of them, they really do offer a very authentic conversational experience. And it's hard to determine whether the agent is a bot or a human being when it's done right. And although chatbot technology it is different from natural language processing technology, chatbots can really only advance as quickly as NLP, or natural language processing. So you know this is really where most applications of NLP really kind of struggle. And it's not just chatbots, because any system or application that is going to rely on a machine's ability to parse human speech can struggle with the complexities inherent in the elements of speech, such as metaphors and similes and those kinds of things. But to put it another way, as time has gone on, chatbots are becoming more human. Another item that folks were quizzed about was the use of IVR, interactive voice response, and just a couple percentage points lesser than that. But really, with interactive voice response, or IVR, callers really IVR callers really have two different ways to input information. They can either use the keypad on their phones, or they can speak into the phone, assuming that the IVR supports automatic recognition of speech. So AI really makes it easier for applications to process this natural language input in an intelligent way. So, the result is an application that uses AI to understand caller intent. So this means that, when you're interacting with an IVR, you can ask open-ended questions, and then your voice, self-service applications can provide this conversational IVR that's more efficient and customer friendly. So a chatbot is essentially a natural language intent system, and integrating AI into an IVR can create a chatbot that works in real time with your voice channel. So really, with those two things in mind, the fact that in-app chatbots and IVRs have really risen, to the top of most businesses' consciousnesses, it's not hard to see why, more than half of SaaS companies have started to invest in an AI technology of one form or another. So we're really going to see that continue to impact SaaS platforms and businesses of all kinds as time goes on. And the AI really, you've probably seen lots of content around this in the last 2 to 3 years, that AI really is impacting the call center in a big way, and especially with us coming out of this recent pandemic and this shift to remote and hybrid work. AI is becoming a player, as we see here in the success of these changes. So, chatbots, NLP, IVRs, they're all playing their roles, and it's all about using technology in a smart way to help customers have a better interaction, either with your SaaS platform, your product or your service, or your business. And as I mentioned, it's now starting to make its way into AI disrupting your communication stack. So, really, when you hear the words AI, you should also be thinking about words like machine learning, and also predictive analytics. And those are different flavors of it. We're not talking about a fully sentient, self-aware Skynet, shall we say. We're talking about using data in a really interesting and efficient way. And if we can update that data often enough, it will mimic some sort of artificial intelligence response that is automated, that again, it can use analytics in a smart way to impact the performance of a product or a service and get the customer what they need. And again, it's all about everything from customized, personalized marketing all the way down to making your communication stack smarter. And really, what does this mean for you guys, whether you have a SaaS platform that's oriented to sales or marketing, or really sort of any SaaS platform, is that you really do have the chance to offer a more customized experience thanks to artificial intelligence. And as long as we're data mining what our users are giving us, or the product or service that we're providing, if we can bring data to it to customize the response of the technology, it's going to work out better for us as a business and also for our customers. And at the very least, these kinds of technologies can actually help you save money just by reducing your call times, your staff times, but also, as we're about to see, really when it comes to your communications, use data in a smart way to actually help you save money and better route your communications. And that's why I want to bring in Mike Tyndall, our co-founder and chief architect, here to really talk more about how thinQ really does power intelligent voice for SaaS companies. So Mike, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Good afternoon. As Tim mentioned, the proliferation of AI technologies as it pertains to customer interactions, whether it's through IVR or speech recognition, ultimately, it's a huge component of that is how do you connect the customer or the user to that particular application. That can be done in a variety of ways, through including technologies like WebRTC, where you're communicating directly via the browser to the customer, through SMS, which actually interacts with the bot and tries to understand what the customer is asking for through keyword analytics, providing intelligent, valuable responses for a self-service sort of application. If you've ever done something similar with your bank, checking balances, paying for things, a lot of that is all fully automated now. So the pathways to connect to those applications are even more critical. One of the most common ways that customers or users interact with these AI platforms is through voice communications channels, such as toll-free, which is very predominant in SaaS and in the call center customer service marketplace. So one of the things that thinQ's done is built an AI platform on top of toll-free. And what that does is, so you've got a main inbound contact center toll-free number, and right now it may be with one provider. If that provider has an issue, then the customer's not going to be able to connect into that application or that call center until the issue is resolved. With thinQ's platform, we've actually integrated so far 5 different network providers that will originate the toll-free traffic across one or all of the networks and deliver it to your application or to the PBX or whatever you happen to be using. The cool thing about it is, if there's an issue with one of them, the system will detect that and automatically reprogram how the calls are originated from the PSTN across that toll-free number, and say it's Verizon in a particular region and they have a problem. Well, it can figure that out and will move the traffic from that region to another provider. One of the sort of that was the original intent for it, was how do we create a fully, redundant, maximum uptime product with something as critical as toll free. The second goal was, well, would it also be cool if we could save the customers money or build an AI engine that will look at the variable cost rates across all the networks, look at the natural calling patterns of where a customer's end users may be originating traffic from. Maybe it's very regionally focused in a particular area of the country. Maybe it is malleable and sort of adapts as the day goes on, as time goes by, and you see patterns move. The system, the AI system, actually looks at these things every couple of days, and through a series of algorithms figures out, okay, I'm going to pin, if a call is coming out of the Northeast, I'm going to use network provider A. If it's coming from Midwest, I'm going to use B. West Coast C is an example. It's a very simplistic example, but it figures that out. Now, a week goes by, a new campaign is launched, or maybe there's a product issue, and what I would consider our customers' application is being bombarded by inbound requests because there's a particular issue. The system will also detect that and repopulate the routing profile and adapt to the changing needs of the customer. What this does, not only in addition to providing that high level of service uptime that we all expect these days in respect to interacting with customer service centers, it also cost optimizes for that service center the inbound traffic. It's very adaptive, and it's a pretty cool piece of tech that can really benefit your advanced AI platform.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've been serving customers with this product now for, over a decade, and just as Think as a company, and we're just, we're excited to offer it, and we really see that it really, the one thing I hear, Mike, all the time from customers is, we finally have control and we can actually go down to the call level and see where there's an issue. We have tools to research call quality issues, but we also have, really the most important thing, that's what I want to roll over and talk about, is redundancy. So that's one of the things that most SaaS platforms may not even know exists as a product, where a lot of cases they sort of farm out their communications to a single carrier. Potentially some of the more forward-looking maybe have two, but really it's a lot more effective when you can have just total control over a set of, you mentioned the 5 toll free, but also we have, 35 other carriers in addition, 40 total for domestic calls that also can be controlled and observed inside of our platform, and also controlled via API. But really what it comes down to is, I think you'd agree that most SaaS platforms, what they care about is having a communication channel that's open and working as often as possible. And redundancy really helps make that possible. So, and you mentioned about how the product actually adjusts to what's going on. I think it's a lot easier too, as we roll through, guys, to talk about an example. And I love to talk about ServiceTitan. So ServiceTitan is a company that, they offer a SaaS platform that really is connecting commercial, residential, HVAC, plumbing, electrical type folks to their customers. And ServiceTitan uses thinQ because, we offer them the ability to light up basically call tracking numbers. And those tracking numbers are inside of the platform, and when a customer calls those numbers, it goes through the ServiceTitan platform, and it's a logged call, and it goes through their system, and then they trust us to pick up the call, log it, and then deliver it. And before they came to us, they really had some static voice routes that they were running, and they were running into a lot of trouble getting calls to actually complete into rural areas. As you can imagine, a lot of these HVAC contractors are in pretty remote areas. So if you have a limited number of carriers trying to deliver calls into these areas, it becomes hard to complete them. If there's, again, only one carrier or two carriers that are part of that solution. So they came to us because we had, we have the 40 carrier depth available to them, and they saw that their call completion rates really went up tremendously, and their customers were much happier. And when they do encounter issues, if they notice that somebody is trying to complete calls into an area and they're hearing that it's not working as well as it should, they can actually go into our system. They can pull what's called a PCAP. They can actually look at each individual call down to where it was coming from, where it was exactly going to, and then exactly which carrier in the process of trying to complete that call is having an issue. And then they can go right in and actually put in a temporary block for a day, 2 days, however many days they'd like, and have it automatically come back online after that amount of time. Because as we know, most carriers can, can fix their issues, ideally within a few hours, maybe a day, maybe two at worst. But basically, they have full control and visibility and transparency to make sure that they can get, maximum uptime. They have dynamic failover, and best of all, they've also seen their overall telecom cost of goods drop because it has automatic cost optimization, as Mike mentioned, about going back every couple of days and optimizing what's going on the back end. So, they turn it on, they basically have these tools, and it's one less thing to have them lose any sleep at night knowing that they have access to this 40 carrier deep, system that's available through thinQ. So with that, I want to say thanks again, Mike, for joining us today to talk about, our multi-carrier solution and how to take control of your communications with our flavor of artificial intelligence, which is, predictive analytics. And we'd love to give you guys an even more in-depth look behind the scenes here about how easy it is to implement our voice solutions. We also offer, SMS, MMS as well into your platform or into your business. Via APIs, or using our thinQ.io platform. And the best way to do that, head over to thinQ.com, click on get a demo, fill it in, or I'm going to be sending all of you a recording of the session here later today. Just feel free to reply to that email. We'll make sure we get you to one of our cloud experts who can, again, take you into the tool, show you around, and talk about your use case, because as we know, there's a lot of different ways to connect what we do to what it is that you do to make sure that you can gain, cost efficiencies and the carrier redundancy and all the good things that come from having thinQ solutions. So with that, I want to say thanks for joining us. Like I said, I'll be sending you guys out a copy of the presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and would love to have a demo with you anytime you're ready to do that. Appreciate everybody. Have a great day.